We really appreciate you joining us for this insider session for President's Council members. This is a distinguished group. It's one of our oldest giving societies, and we are really appreciative of the support that you provide for Colorado School of Mines. And this is our way of giving you a little bit of an insider look into what's happening on campus. We've got a really interesting and good topic today for you. So I'm Brian Wickelbauer, President and CEO of the Mines Foundation, and delighted to host you. There are a lot of really amazing things happening on campus, and we've got a lot planned for the rest of the semester, and it's just started. So a couple of things that I think you need to be aware of. This is our sesquicentennial.
Anybody not know that yet?
Yes. Just want to be sure this is Mines' 150th anniversary year, and we started the year off. I don't know how many of you were around, but we opened the Labriola Innovation Complex and the Labriola Innovation Hub, the building itself. We celebrated Mines' birthday, I think we called it. Yes. We had an amazing I Dig Mines Giving Day for Mines, another record-setting year, thanks to a lot of people in this room and online. And there's more to come. So this fall, we're kind of culminating the sesquicentennial activities during homecoming. Hope you all can be there. It's going to be incredible. A lot of things happening. Let's see, the biggest, best blowout is coming September 26th to September 28th. We have our first ever inaugural Global Energy Leaders Summit. A lot of guest speakers. The topic is obviously energy and the future of energy, and this is the place. This is the epicenter here at Mines. We are the go-to place for energy. So we're really looking forward to kicking that lecture series, that summit off. We are going to have an incredible Mines birthday party called Blasters Bash. Friday night, Blasters Bash. You got to be there. A lot of surprises. And alumni, the Alumni Association Board is working on some really neat things. Some ore digger themed beverages, maybe, in there. So you want to be there for all the surprises. Of course, we've got the homecoming game. There's a bonfire also Friday night after Blasters Bash, which has become another great tradition here at Mines. So a lot of neat activities happening. I hope you'll be here. The response so far has been really, really positive. We have more people signed up for homecoming than we ever have before, and we will take more. So tell your friends, fellow alumni, we'd love to have you on campus. Finally, it was neat to look through the list of people who had RSVP'd for this event. A lot of people here in the room and online are longtime President's Council members, and we're so grateful for your loyal support. What I also noticed were a lot of new names, and that is really inspiring. So new people who have joined the President's Council, including parents. I know there are several parents and family members of current students online watching. So we do appreciate your support in helping to create an amazing educational experience for online students. So with that, I want to welcome our guests, and we'll leave it to President Paul Johnson to kick off the program. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Brian. Take Brian around the applaud. He likes to clap. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you all for being such big supporters of Mines. Really appreciate that. Hopefully you'll feel really good about that support. When we go through there, many of you support students directly. Some of you support programs here at the university, other things like that. And you're going to meet two all-star students in a little while here that you know, you'll just know all the support that you're given is like well worth it from these two. They are amazing. So the theme for tonight is mostly about, student success. We sort of picked that one because this is day 3 of the fall semester. Our newest students joined us about a week and a half ago. We had a whole new program this year for welcoming our newest students to campus. We'll tell you a little bit about that. And these two were really heavily involved in orchestrating and making that all work out as well as it did. So we're going to talk about somewhat how we did all those things. We'll spend a bit of time on specifically on Ordigger Camp because that's a big part of the signature experience for the students when they first come on board. And some of you were there helping out. And it was great to see you all there, and I'll explain the roles these two had up there as well. But before we kind of jump into that, I wanted to give you a little bit. People are always interested when the school year starts of like how many students showed up 10 days ago, how many students do we have here total at Mines? What are we doing? Where are they all going? Where do we fit them in? How do we teach them and stuff like that? So I'm going to go over a little bit over that kind of stuff, and then we're going to circle back to this kind of initial welcoming of our students. So that's the way we're going to go here with the slides. So just real quick for you. She's on her way back. You have to wait something up over there for this to work.
Is the clicker on? Yeah, I see it.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if it works in here. But anyway, so how many students did we welcome to Mines? Well, we have about 750 new students. That's about 1,600 traditional first-year students, about 150 transfer students. To put that in context for you, that's about 10% more than joined us at this time last year. And our intention last year had been that would be the largest class ever at Mines. This year's a little different year. So, and when we get to total student numbers, I'll talk about that a little bit. But one of the factors that was involved this year, some of you may have read about the federal FAFSA form issues and things like that. So it was kind of a strange year where you never quite knew how students and families were going to be making their decisions about going to college and things like that. And so really tough to sort of play historical statistics and admissions and things like that. But in any case, we have a bumper crop of students this year. They are wonderful. They're from an academic standpoint, they are as good as everyone who's come in, the last 10 years or so recently. Sometimes people go, if you're getting bigger, the quality must be going down, right? It's absolutely not the case. So we're, the average GPA has been going up over time with the incoming class. The test scores have been going up. And sometimes I look at what percentage of the incoming class at a high school GPA that was greater than 3.75. And that's, 3/4 of the class coming in the door. So great academic qualified. Now we look at more things than just academic qualifications. We look for students who are going to do well at Mines, right? So we look for, while you're getting good grades, are you doing other things? Do you have community engagement? Are you involved in clubs or sports or things like that? What's the likelihood that you're going to have a strong affinity for this university, and all sorts of other things? And so our admissions group spends a lot of time cultivating the class that we bring in the door. Typically we're always very roughly half in-state, half out-of-state students. We've got 49 of the 50 states represented. I don't think which one. It's one of the Dakotas. South Dakotas is the one that's missing this year. The top states represented, of course, Colorado, Texas, California, Washington, Oregon, and then coming up for the first time towards the top line, Virginia. So, for an East Coast school, East Coast state to be in the top group, that means something's going on. People are starting to take a little more notice of us, which is fantastic. I'd say these things are pretty typical for a year, other than this number is lower than usually we have about a third of our incoming class or so. Not sure if the FAFSA had anything to do with that or whatever, but otherwise, great group. We just spent a lot of time with them. Well, you spent even more time than I spent with them, but between all the things that we'll tell you about later that we did, they are excited to be here. They're bright, they're engaged, and I think we're lucky to have them. So that's the incoming class. In terms of total numbers of students, we're at about 8,000. That's kind of what we designed for. So we are, I would say we're pretty much at capacity for the undergraduate students now. So the 6,200 or so that we have just kind of fit into everything that we have. And from a classroom perspective, from a residence hall perspective, from all those kinds of things. So that's about where we're going to be flying for a while now. From an undergraduate perspective, there's still room to grow the master's and certificate graduate level things, because some of those are delivered remotely and online and all sorts of other stuff. So you may, if we're doing things right, you're going to start seeing this number sort of level off and then these numbers growing a little bit. So, but being at 8,000 students is what allows us to offer all the things that we offer students. So it's not sort of growth just to get big, but if you're too small, you don't have the resources to offer the things that we need to offer for students to produce the graduates we want to produce. If you're too big, you can't do it either because you just can't scale a lot of these things up. So the sweet spot is sort of this kind of, 8,000-ish student size university. And so that's what we've been aiming for throughout the whole Minds of 50 design phase. So anyway, that's where we are from that perspective. Now, right, obviously, what do we do with all these wonderful new students? How do we make sure they're going to be successful when they get here? And so we have this wonderful programming for them that we will cycle back to this topic in a little while. But Brian asked me to tell you a little bit more about a few other things on campus before we jump back to this. So, right, so there's always questions about, okay, where are all these students going? So one of the things we've been planning for all along is that, we talk a lot about the Mind Signature student experience, right? That you come here as a student, you're going to have an experience here and a preparation and education that's different than going any other place. And a key part of our design for that is a 2-year living on campus experience. So in the first 2 years, we have the opportunity for you to take advantage of all the resources we have. We have the opportunity to help you match up and find the major that you really want to have, and the career direction that you want to have. And so we've always kind of been going that direction. Of course, in order to do that, you have to increase the housing capacity that we have on campus. The other reason for increasing the housing capacity on campus is, most of you know, the capacity in the surrounding community is declining. With time, it's getting harder, not very affordable for students to do. And so we want to be able to provide a more affordable than the community option anyway, for our students. And I wouldn't be surprised if, 10, 15 years from now, this isn't a 4-year residential campus in total, just because of the way things are going. And I think we have to be thinking about that as we're going forward. But anyway, we've been working on this for a while. So in 2020, we opened Spruce Hall. That's the sort of newest residence hall for first-year students. That same year, we opened 1750 Jackson, which is just right down there. That was our first foray into having some new apartment style housing for our second-year students. So what's going on right now is we have 2 major housing related construction projects taking place. If you've driven along 19th Street, you've probably seen the fences and the big giant crane that's there now and the dirt that's being moved and everything. That's for this project. So this is second-year housing. There'll be enough room for about 800 students to live there. It's apartment style housing for the students. And it will be hopefully ready in fall of 26. When all the second-year house students who are going to live on campus have a place to live. So in any case, it's going to be a beautiful building. There's a lot of work has gone into planning for it. And actually, we wouldn't have been able to do this if you trace it back far enough without the help of the foundation, because the land that it's sitting on, the foundation helped us purchase. Some of you know the Christensen family. we were able to purchase that land from them. That allowed us to have a big enough block of land to be able to do this. So anyway, that's going on. And then there's, up the street, the other major project is, up in Mines Park. And so if you're driving around here, you probably noticed there's probably 2 or 3 cranes up in Mines Park. There's a lot of things going vertical up there. And what we've done up there is we've taken some of the existing buildings and renovated them. Some of the ones that were up there weren't worth renovating. And so we knocked those over, and where those were, which were very inefficient space use, we're building basically sort of 5 new towers and some community amenities and things like that up there. And so this is going to be really cool. We've toured the buildings and seen how they're going, but these will be done for this time next year. So that'll be kind of neat. So what we should have in 2 years' time anyway, we'll have enough space for all students to live on campus first and second year, and then for a good chunk of people to live on campus their 3rd, 4th year or as graduate students. So that's what's happening with all of that. So we got places for them to live. Do we have enough classrooms for people to be in? And yes, we've been adding classroom capacity to campus as well. So a few years ago, we opened McNeil Hall. That was the first building that we put in what I would call more project-based learning type classrooms to facilitate what we're doing in our design classes and things like that. And so that's kind of the picture there on the left. That was coupled with our first ever parking garage, and that model worked so well that we said, let's do this all over again. Just we need more parking, we need more classrooms. And so just next door to where we're sitting, we've got the second parking garage going up, and the north side of that building has a classroom. And actually, when you walk out here and go around this side, you can actually start to see that it's a classroom building because it's glass enclosed in. It's going to have 3 floors of classrooms. The classrooms are sort of a mixture of things like in McNeil and the ones that we built in the Coors Tech building, if you're familiar with those style of classrooms. The 4th floor of the building will be the new home for our geophysics faculty. So, that's what's going on there. The parking garage should be done by the end of this calendar year. The classroom building is very likely to be more ready probably in March of 25. So that's how we're looking on that. So that's taking place. Other learning spaces, Brian mentioned the opening of Labriola to celebrate Mines sesquicentennial. And so we have about 40,000 square feet of maker space over there that's connected to our 1st year design classes or capstone classes, and anybody who just has an idea they want to build something, prototype something, whatever. It's a fantastic resource. It is the largest that I am aware of at any university in this country. So if you consider the size of our university relative to size of other places, this is a huge, huge resource. We would not have that without donor support. So that building, 75% of it is philanthropically funded, and the other 25% the students voted with their construction fee to fund it. So first one of those we've been able to do in a while. And so really a lot of people are very excited about it. If you haven't had a chance to see it, please go take a look at it. It's still being activated. So there's even more things going on there now than there were in the springtime when you might have seen it before. And then of course, we're here in the Beck Venture Center, which is all part of our E&I ecosystem. And the most exciting thing, I think, for people was the Einstein's Bagels. So when that opened up, there was like a line out just to get there. But anyway, you can see this is an area that the students can feel welcome in. And then upstairs, we've got spaces for the startups and the companies, and there's programming that go along with that. Again, something that we wouldn't have been able to do without donor support. So those are pretty exciting additions to campus. And then a couple other things in the works. The biggest hole in the ground on campus is for this building. And that's just basically about a block and a half up the street here. This is will be the what's called the Mineral and Energy Research Facility. This is a project that Mines is building for the USGS. USGS is going to locate about 250 of its experts in minerals and energy resources here on campus. We will have space in that building as well. There'll actually be classrooms in that building too. So it's going to look just like a campus building, except for we're going to now have more people who know more about this topic than any other place in the universe probably all in one spot. And so we're pretty excited about that. This is being funded by the federal government through the, the infrastructure bill. And we did the groundbreaking late last year, and it should be coming online sometime in fall 26 as well. It will be the largest research building ever built on campus. So it's going up. It's pretty cool. We are very excited about the expansion of our partnership with USGS, and it's just a great coup for Mines to have them here and to have this facility on our campus. So it's going to do a lot for our profile and for the expertise that we have here on campus as well. The other thing I thought I would mention about, I thought I'd give you a little heads up on, since you're in the insider group. You'll start to hear a little bit more about this probably middle of September, but you might have heard in the news that there's been this program where the federal government was establishing, I think it's in total 11 tech hubs across the country. Each of those tech hubs focuses on a different subject in industry, and they're each chosen to be the thing that sort of stimulates and grows that industry for the rest of the nation. And so there was a proposal put in by Colorado-based consortia that also includes some of our neighbors to the north and south in the Mountain States region. You'll hear people talk about Elevate Quantum. That's the name of this consortia. The consortia involves the three large research universities, that's us in the state, as well as 70 plus quantum technology companies that are out there. So it's been announced that Colorado sort of won this. It's about $40 million in the federal government. That's the initial tranche. It's anywhere from 10 to 20 times that over the course of the project. So hundreds of millions of dollars for these things. And there's also an investment from the state, which the initial investment from the state is about $70 million. So this is a big deal. It's a big deal for Colorado to win this. Mines was a huge part of winning this proposal. And the part that you haven't heard yet, that you'll start hearing more about the news because the people from DC are going to descend here in middle of September to talk about it, is Mines is going to be owner, developer, operator of a quantum technology park. So yesterday evening, we closed on about 70 acres of land, as yet to be disclosed in a couple weeks. And we've actually been sort of working on this and getting ready to, like, the wheels have been spinning to get going since about May. So this is a big deal for us to, again, as a university that prides itself in its connections with industry. We're going to be very closely coupled with a very rapidly growing industry. And so this is going to be great. There's actually also going to be a very unique facility up at the Edgar Mine. So it turns out that in the quantum computing world, that cosmic rays tend to mess up the calculations. And so if you can put something underground, that attenuates the flux of those cosmic rays and makes the calculations a little better. And so we happen to have a spot in the mine with a large overburden on it that people are really excited about putting quantum stuff in. So the mining department going to be blasting some rock to make some rooms up there in the mine for us. And we're going to have physicists and all sorts of people crawling all over there doing all sorts of things. So and there aren't other resources like this out there in the country. So people are going to be coming here to do their work and be learning their stuff. And we've already had inquiries from companies who want to locate and build their next buildings at the tech park that we'll be talking about. So it's a big deal. It's going to be moving fast. So you'll hear more about that. And look about the middle of the month for some announcements and some press on these kinds of things. So anyway, with that, back to this thing about we just brought in 1,750 students and we want them to be successful. And so want to spend a little bit time talking about that. We're going to ask our guests here to give us a little bit more insight to that. But just the framework is this year there was this new thing called the Hell of a Week. And Hell of a Week involved move-in, going to camp, other programming, the M-Climb, community projects in Golden, all sorts of stuff, keeping them busy, getting and building community and all sorts of stuff. And so we want to have an opportunity to tell you more about that. I'm gonna show you a little video to give you maybe a visual sense of some things that you would see if you walked around a camp, and a couple of you have actually walked around a camp, but let's take a look. Right, so that gives you a little sense of things going on. I didn't see any axe throwing. That did happen up there too. But in any case, I want to explain a little bit of the structure, and then we're gonna have the stars of the show give you a little bit more insight into these things. But Ore Digger Camp is this really special thing. Was our 8th year, I think. Yep. So I think we did it this summer of my 2nd year here, I think. The first time we ever did it. And the goal of it was, this was the way to build community away from campus before anything starts here at Mines, because building community and feeling part of a community is really important to student success and staying at a university and going. We really wanted the students to own this, so that it wasn't like you go to camp and the adults tell you what to do and stuff like that. So that this was always structured to be, adults help with the logistics, but if we're at camp, the only thing we're doing is playing gaga ball or whatever. The rest of it totally run by students, owned by students, and if it was gonna live on, students had to feel a strong affinity for it and want it to happen every year. And so, so we have up at camp, we have the campers, those are the first year students, we have the counselors, and I think we 220, 200 and something counselors. So, so this was the first year, every first year student went to camp. You could opt out, but only 5 opted out. Only 4 students opted. So this, I mean, that's like a rounding error in the scale of what we were doing here, right? So this was the first time we'd ever done it. It's the first time we'd ever pulled off 800 students at a single camp. And so it was a big, in some ways, an experiment and a challenge and exciting and everything else. But we've got the campers. The counselors are students who are sophomores, juniors, and seniors. They've been there before. And they just want to come back and help out. And then there are the camp directors. And traditionally there's 2, but sometimes there's more, but there are 4 this year. We have half of the camp directors here with us. And they're going to tell you a little bit about their stories and what their experiences are with camp and things like that. But I always, when I am doing welcome up at camp, I always refer to the camp counselors as the secret sauce of the camp, because they are the ones that make the experience good for the students. They are the ones, when the students come back, they're the people that have left the strongest impression in the mind of our new students. And then I always refer to the directors as the sauce bosses. And so we're very lucky to have 2 sauce bosses here. And so we have Mariana and we have Eli, and they were like, I mean, they could run the university. Seriously. Like, if you can run Ore Digger Camp, you could run Mines better than I do. Right. So we're very lucky that we had them there. We're very lucky to have them here. And so they're gonna each tell you a little bit about themselves and maybe some memorable experience they had at camp, and then we'll have to do a little bit of question and answer kind of thing. So if that's okay with everybody. I don't know if you flipped coins as to who was going to work. Okay.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Mariana. I'm currently in my senior year studying mechanical engineering, and then I'm also getting a minor in public affairs with the McBride Honors Program. And I'm really excited to be here to talk about camp and how it's part of the Minds signature student experience this year. So a little bit about kind of the history of camp. President Johnson mentioned a little bit, but yeah, it did start 8 years ago in 2016 with two camp groups of around 120 students each. Only 2 camp directors and 2 professional staff helping out. And now it's grown to be 800 students per camp, with 4 of us, student directors helping, with 4 professional staff and a summer intern and a bunch of other faculty and alumni that come and help us out. So seeing how it's grown over the years has been really cool. It's also happened every year, even through COVID, which is kind of cool. They had an online camp in 2020 and then an in-person camp on campus in 2021, which is the camp that we both attended our first year as campers. So that's a little bit of the history, but what's really cool is the reason why we did camp and why we do camp is for students to make connections. And so they're making connections with their peers, they're meeting friends before they actually step on campus and start their classes. But they're also getting to make connections with their camp counselors who are leaders across campus in a bunch of different organizations, and then also with our alumni and faculty volunteers. So getting to do some of that networking and getting to have some of that support going in before they even start classes, which is really cool. And kind of how this huge event can happen, a lot of the behind the scenes, what we get to work on is the new Student Transition Services Office they hired 4 student directors this year to help kind of design the camp experience. And so we get to go in and with their support, decide which activities we want to bring to camp. And then the YMCA provides activities. We're in Estes Park this year. And as well as some of these bigger camp activities, camp-wide games that we plan, as well as like we build the whole schedule. So there's a schedule for like 128 groups of students walking around. And then we also hire all of the camp counselors who are all student volunteers that want to come back and give back to that experience at camp. So definitely a lot of work and preparation and training that goes into camp. But kind of the reason why, so obviously that sounds like a lot. That's kind of hard. Why would I want to do something like that? And at Minds, we like to do hard things, but the reason why I got involved in doing this was because my experience at camp, my first year, was really impactful for me. So I came in and I was pretty shy, introverted, not really sure what my Minds experience was going to be like. I'm originally from Maryland, so coming far from home, not knowing anyone. And my camp counselors were awesome. And they really helped me feel like I could take charge of my Minds experience. And they kind of showed me the ropes, gave me their tips and tricks. So when I started classes, I felt ready to go and had some friends. And so I asked them, I was like, how can I get involved in this my next couple of years? So I ended up being a camp counselor my next year and got to be involved impacting the first year students coming in. And then applied to help direct camp the last 2 years. And so the reason why I keep coming back is because of just the profound impact that it has on students. So you see campers, my students coming in their first day of camp, and they're all kind of nervous, starting off like, oh, what is this gonna be? I'm not really sure, I'm in a new place. And they come out of camp and they have friends and they're planning meetups with their friends and they have some things they want to get involved in that they've talked with their camp counselors about. And it's really cool seeing the community that they build. But then also for the camp counselors, it's a great leadership experience for them. Sometimes that's their first time leading a group around. And they get to be part of this community of people from all across campus that want to help give back. And so that's the reason why I kind of want to come back and do this again and again, is just that impact and seeing people also want to give back to the experience that they had. And also it's just really cool to see like how that's impacted me. I would not recognize the person I am today right now from when I came into Minds. And a lot of that is because of getting involved in the leadership opportunities that I've had, helping to work Order Your Camp. And so it's really cool to see like how I've grown in confidence and being able to speak in front of people and in my leadership just throughout this program. So yeah, kind of just to end off on a fun note, I'll give you my favorite camp experience. One of my favorite things about camp is that on day 2, we do a large group campfire with everyone. And so we split into a group of about 200 this year. We had like 4 groups of 200 for each camp. And they all are required to design and perform a skit in front of everyone at campfire. And so it can be a nerdy skit, it can be something related to mines or something unrelated to mines. Lots of the times it's mines related. And all the student groups will go in front and perform this skit in front of their peers. And it's really cool to see, like, even just within a day and a half, these students coming in front of their peers and taking a step outside their comfort zone and getting to be silly and do something fun. And just seeing like everyone else in the audience cheering them on and how that community is just building before we're even stepping foot on campus. So that's been one of my favorite things about campus, seeing how that community is growing. And also I'm just so excited to see with how close this class is this year, all the amazing things they're going to do carrying through mines and beyond mines, how strong their connection is. So it's been really awesome to do this, and I definitely could not do it without my amazing co-director Eli. So we'll let him come up and tell you a little bit more.
Hello, everybody. My name is Elijah. I'm also going to my senior year. I'm majoring in mechanical engineering with a focus in aerospace. As a camp counselor for the past 2 years, I've had a privilege of seeing firsthand the profound impact that Mines Orediger Camp has on our first year students. My passion for the program, coupled with my vision on how to enhance the experience, is the reason that I wanted to become a director this year. As one of our 4 camp directors, I played a key part in assisting our team to prepare for the largest Orediger Camp Mines has ever seen. And to put that into perspective, which was done a little bit earlier, there were about 1,600 students at camp with around 220 to 230 camp counselors. So this was the first year that was mentioned previously that we've had everyone be able to attend camp, which was absolutely amazing. And so from helping to craft the schedule and designing new camp programming to purchasing thousands of snacks and making sure everything ran well behind the scenes, our team really did it all. Being a director really helped show me that we are all capable of changing the world around us. It's really shown me the impact that ripples can have. These students that are attending camp are coming back as counselors, and that just keeps continuing and continuing. So it's really awesome to see the impact that we are able to have on these first year students. This year, all campers had the awesome opportunity to participate in engineering activities, reflection activities, and some professional development sessions. Our 3 engineering challenges were designed to help students grasp what it means to truly be a hell of an engineer. These activities encourage them to appreciate the value of working in multidisciplinary teams, of honing their communication skills, and also helping them to appreciate the value of solving complex problems by thinking critically. The reflection activities aim to prompt students to explore their own identities and envision who they aspire to become during their time here at Mines. And last but not least, our professional development sessions focused on building students' confidence in public speaking and providing them with essential skills for their future careers. Every year, we have a wonderful group of Mines alumni and faculty volunteers who help facilitate these activities. Special shout out to the Mines alum class of the 70s. We appreciate y'all, and we saw a lot of you there. But beyond the structured programming, it's often the personal connections and unexpected moments at camp that make the deepest impact. And so with that being said, I'm gonna also talk about some of my favorite memories, one being more serious and the other one being a little bit more fun. So one of my fondest memories from my times at Mines actually occurred at this year's Orediger Camp. One standout memory from this camp is that we had a student who was really struggling socializing and integrating within their group. This student actually didn't speak a single word on the first day of camp. And so I was under the impression that this student might need to get driven back to Golden, just because it wasn't an ideal place for them to be at that time. However, during our small group campfire, which is something that we do every year at camp, where campers and counselors alike have the opportunity to share about their lives and be vulnerable with one another, they began to open up and connect with their peers. And by the end of this camp, they had formed meaningful friendships and found a sense of belonging, which was incredibly rewarding to see. Today, I actually saw this camper walking around campus, smiling and trying to get involved in everything that they could. I had a really awesome conversation with them, and it was just really cool to see that transformation that happened because of Order Your Camp. So for a bonus memory, last year at camp, I had the wonderful opportunity to go tubing with the one and only PCJ. Unfortunately, the tube couldn't handle my gravity-defying antics, and so I ended up flying off the tube and tumbling down the hill in a spectacular fashion. But you know, on the bright side, I made it onto PCJ's Instagram, so I think it was worth it. I think it was honestly worth it. But yeah, the transition to college can be incredibly challenging for incoming students. It certainly was for me. I came to camp with severe imposter syndrome, struggling with anxiety and doubts about whether or not I had chosen the right place to spend my time for college. But Order Your Camp really flipped that on its head, and it helped me to feel seen, it helped me to feel supported, it helped me to feel excited about my college experience, and most importantly, it helped me know that I made the right decision of where I want to spend my next 4 years. It's really hard, like Mariana said, to imagine who I would be today or where I'd be today without Order Your Camp. It really did impact my life for the better. And that's the big reason why I come back and why I think this program is so important for our first year students. But yeah, this is exactly what we hope students gain from camp, that they understand that here at Mines, we're one big family, that we want them to feel confident that they found their home for the next 4 years, but we also want them to leave with a strong foundation of what it means to climb together. When we speak of climbing together, that includes you all as well. And with your continued support, we can ensure that every student who decides to come to Mines feels the same sense of belonging, purpose, and excitement that Order Your Camp has instilled in so many of us, empowering the next generation of Hellevoet engineers. Thank you all for your time.
I think we're gonna do some Q&A.
Yeah.
Right, Brian? So I think you're gonna moderate that for us, so we'll hang out up here. While Brian's making his way up here and pulling some questions, Eli, you didn't mention, I think for this group, they'd be interested to know, you are in one particular scholars community.
Yes.
Would you like to tell?
Yeah, here at Mines, I'm part of the Harvey Scholar Foundation, which has also been an absolute amazing opportunity. It's provided me with the opportunity to study abroad, to meet a lot more people than I would have. I'm a little introverted, or at least I was when I got here. Order Your Camp has changed all of that. But yeah, it's been an awesome part to be a part of that. For those that haven't heard of the Harvey Scholars Foundation, it's ran by Hugh and Michelle Harvey, and we're able to actually have lunch with them every month and talk with them and receive their continued support. But that's just been honestly such a blessing for me and is the reason I'm here today. I definitely would not have been at college if it wasn't for them. So huge shout out to the Harveys.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll just say, don't ever get in the Gaga bowl.
It's kind of intense.
It turns into a completely different person. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, we both do this, yes.
All right, you ready to answer a few questions?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. We have a few already that let's stick with Order Your Camp since we're on that theme first. There are some other general questions we can get to, but someone asked, what are some of the big wins or successes during Order Your Camp this year, especially since it was all of the students this year? What stood out as kind of the positives from that?
Yeah, well, we should each have a couple.
Yeah.
I'll throw out, I mean, the easy one is everybody went to camp, right? That's, think about the logistics of taking 1,600 people, 800 at a time. There's actually 2 hours when all 1,600 are on the camp property
Yeah.
together. When the interchange, and that's total chaos.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really remarkable and just a testament to the amazing organizational and leadership skills of these two students who are with us today. What would
Yeah.
you say?
I'd say all the campers got to experience all the activities at camp, even with a little bit of rain in the mix. And I'd also shout out there was one student in particular that was in a wheelchair and they were still able to participate in all of camp. And I think that's one thing that we're trying to work on too, is making camp more accessible to people with different disabilities. so that we can have every single student attend camp. And I think it was really cool this year, even though there were little things that came up, that we were still able to get this student to all of their activities and all of their meals and get to spend time with their group. And I know that they really loved being there. So yeah, that was really a win for me.
Yeah, and on a similar note, in the past, all we've done for Sunrise on the last day is a hike. And so this year we had multiple opportunities and different activities for students to participate in. We had hike, we had meditation, we had yoga, we had a morning prayer even. And there was just this variety of activities that students could choose from, so that there was something for everyone to do that morning if they didn't want to wake up at 4 and go on a hike. And so that was really cool. But I think the biggest win for me was just the amount of tears that I saw at the end from all the counselors and them coming up and telling us like, I want to do this again, and I want to do this again. And also hearing some testimonies from some campers that that camp really did impact them. One of my roommates was a counselor. He came up to me and actually told me that camp changed his life, which I was a little taken aback by. But he said that he realized that he has the potential to change the world around him and to impact people and to do something that's meaningful. And so I just think that's a huge win, is that we're able to inspire people to continue this journey.
Great, well done. So Orediger Camp, as mentioned earlier, is part of Hell of a Welcome Week. So there's a whole week of activities that include some of the great traditions that all of you participated in, like the M-Climb. What are some of the other things that happen throughout the week? We've got the peer mentors working with the students throughout the week. What are some of those other activities that go on that folks might not know about, and what kind of an impact does that make on the whole experience?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about Service Project on Saturday if you want to cover the other ones. But there are two peer mentors that kind of run the show for the Hell of a Welcome Week. And on Saturday, which is our last day of Hell of a Welcome, we all do a service project. So those two students talk with a bunch of people around Golden in the community. There are churches and there are different organizations, and there are different like communities of people that need things to be done, whether that's yard work or painting or making care packages, or there's all sorts of stuff. And they organize that so that every single group of their, like every single CSM 101 class, the freshman seminar class, gets to go and perform that service project, go do that service project together. And I think I really love that because like not only are we becoming members of the Mines community, but we are becoming members of the Golden community. So it's important to give back and yeah, kind of learn about how service is valuable, because you don't know which students have experienced doing service like that and which have not. So it's a really uniting experience for both the class, and then also really cool that we get to do that with the Golden community and give back.
And I'll speak more of the purpose of Hell of a Welcome Week in general. So in Hell of a Welcome Week, all first year students will meet their two peer mentors that teach their CSM 101 freshman seminar class. In that class, they learn all of a wide array of topics, ranging from like mental health, study tips, support that's available to them on campus. And so in that week, they're meeting a solid group of people that they can rely on if they begin to start struggling during the semester. And so they're able to meet their peer mentors, meet their friends, and grow closer to one another, but also to know that they have the support there for them if they need it, and to fall back on that. And so I think it was really cool that we were able to do it all in 1 week. And it goes back to that accessibility thing. We had some students in the past, all of these events were kind of spaced out throughout the months of summer. And now that we were able to do it all in 1 week, they're able to get through everything and stay here on campus and really get that nice push off into the start of the year. So it was really cool.
So are you both peer mentors?
We are
Yes.
both peer mentors.
I know the
Yes.
answer. But just, so the point I was trying to make, so they went up to camp, they directed these huge camps, got on a bus, came back, and then like immediately had to adopt their CSM 101 classes and run them through the rest. Like there was no break for these poor students. And this is actually Mariana's CSM 101 class
Yeah,
behind her.
They're
here.
awesome.
So,
they're all so great.
It's a week for sure.
Yeah, it was fun though.
It was great.
There's a lot of other programming that goes into that week too with a large group game that they organize and different fun things that students can do in their free time. And then, yeah, getting to meet your class. And then the M climb and all of those things are in the mix there. Can't forget the M climb and the barbecue and all those things. So.
Great. So this is obviously an important week for the first year students. But Minds also continues to provide support for the students. So what are some of those things that help students keep connected throughout the year? We've got Celebration of Minds coming up on Friday as an example. What are some of the other ways that as student peer mentors, as leaders, or at the university, and we have some of our colleagues in here, what are some of the other ways that we keep students connected on campus?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is involvement in organizations, which Celebration of Minds is a great place for everyone to start. And we do another one of those in the spring for everyone who's studying abroad in the fall. So I think them getting a taste of all of those things that they can get involved in, as well as their camp counselors, they can still contact, and their CSM class that they meet. So all of those students have 2 peer mentors, 2 Minds students who've kind of been through at least a year of Minds that can offer them support throughout that whole semester and even longer than that. Some of my peer mentors I've continued to reach out to, even in my second year, just saying, hey, do you have advice on this? So that connection really does span through your Minds experience. But I'd say definitely just the huge amount of clubs and organizations that people can get involved in related to academics or to the identities they hold or to just interests they have, clubs and sports and yeah, all those things.
Yeah, and I'll speak less on like a physical thing, but I think more of a mindset that started at camp and that they've been starting to realize. And I talked about it in my speech, is that here at Minds, we all do climb together. And I do think that the CSM 101 program, the peer mentor program, or Digger Camp, all of these clubs really emphasize that. Even the classes at the end of all of our syllabi, there are resources for students. And so we are continuously letting them know that like we are here for one another. And that's what I really enjoy about being part of a smaller institution of about 8,000 people, like discussed earlier, is that everyone, like you're gonna see a lot of people that you know every day. And you're gonna know that people care about you and you're not just gonna get lost in the crowd, you know, like we have very personalized support things and programs here on camp that allow for that to happen. And yeah, Mariana hit those on the head.
so since if I could, just as a follow-up, since you mentioned Celebration of Minds, they might not be familiar with what that is,
Oh,
but,
yeah.
but maybe just like, what does it look like? Like
Yeah,
if they were, and you're all invited, so Friday, 4 to 6.
4 to 6, yeah.
You're all invited to Celebration of Minds up on the but like, what are they gonna see? What's it look like?
Yeah, yeah, so Celebration of Minds, all of the clubs and organizations that you can think of have tables up on the North IM field, the North Intramural field. And they set up tables and they'll have free swag they're giving out and they'll have people at each table talking about their club and organization. And so from 4 to 6 p.m., students can feel free to walk through and talk to those students and get some free swag and snacks and things. But it's a really great way to see really all that's out there. And you can sign up for as many things as you want and then go to as many things as you want and then decide what you like from there. That's how I accidentally joined the club rugby team and I'm still on the club rugby team because I accidentally made eye contact with someone at the women's club rugby table and they're like, you need to sign up for tryouts. So, but I ended up loving it. So it's stuff like that, where, yeah, you get to talk to students. They're all out there on the field. It's a fun time, so.
Any from your participations in previous Celebration Minds, any clubs or orgs sort of stand out as like you were walking around and you could throw,
Yeah.
where'd that one come from?
I think it's the Caving Club. They always have this super tiny box at their station and they invite students to come up and try to get through it. And it's really funny. I've seen a couple of students get stuck. But yeah, that one really caught my eye. Usually all of the big club sports teams are out there and they're hooting and hollering, so it's fun to see them for sure.
So come out if you got time Friday
Yeah, for sure.
afternoon.
It's a
It's,
great
it's
time.
fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
It's a
great,
good time.
great to see the guy.
Lots of free stuff too.
There you go. Gotta love free stuff.
So all three of you mentioned this, it was also in the video, but we have a lot of alumni who come and help with Ordigger Camp. And as mentioned, there are several volunteers in the room here and I know online as well. So it's part of an effort to make those connections for students with alumni, a broader effort. And our friends in Student Life are great about providing those opportunities. We have alumni at the M Climb, weighing rocks and just welcoming students. We have those opportunities throughout the year. We're working on having more alumni in the classroom as well. So there are a lot of ways for alumni to get involved. And I know that since you mentioned it, I think that's pretty impactful for the students who attend certainly the Ordigger Camp and then the M Climb and what I've noticed from the outside is seeing when these students come back from Ordigger Camp, they go on the M Climb, all the t-shirts from the M Climb have the fight song on the back. So as the students are walking up the M Climb, they can read the words and they're learning the words of the M Climb. But there's so much pride in Mines, and that's being developed at Ordigger Camp and throughout Hell of a Welcome Week. And alumni are a critical part of that. So I encourage you, if you're interested in volunteering there, we have a lot of ways for you to do that. And I thank you all for mentioning that, because I think it makes a difference in the experience for you. Yeah. So if I may transition to, there's a question about what are some of the challenges that Mines has right now besides parking? Okay, we'll just get that out, elephant in the room out there, but what are, someone asked, what are some of the other challenges that Mines is wrestling with right now? Yeah, from a student perspective.
Oh, I mean, a lot of little things come to mind. I think, I mean, I'm very much still like in camp mode. I think there's a lot that we can do, to make activities more meaningful and to, make camp better. For this incoming students, like whether that's making it more accessible or, looking at the activities we have and seeing if, they can, be more meaningful. Or like if there's something we need to add or take away. And I think what's really cool about that is, camp has changed a lot every year and it's like really up to us, like what we feel is needed. I think in terms of, like Mines in general, I don't know, I think that, the biggest thing I've seen is like, incoming, which I think we've done a lot better, getting to this is like students realizing they really do have support here. And I think that like I've met a lot of my friends who kind of feel like, oh, like I have to do this by myself. And like, that's not what Mines is about. And I think that Ordigger Camp and a lot of this other programming in the last couple of years, like that's one of the things that we've really been working on is, having students feel like they can, they don't have to do things alone here because, if they feel like they're supported, they're gonna do some really incredible things. And if they don't feel like they're supported, that could stop them from staying here. And that's a really easy thing we can do. Or it should be an easy thing we can do is to be intentional about like making sure that that support is there. But I think we can always work on that.
Yeah, and similar to that, I think just in general of students that come to Mines, they're so used to just like dominating their high school experience and they get here. And I feel like sometimes it's a shell shock factor for some of them and they don't exactly feel as if they can advocate for themselves in fear of like being seen as like less by their peers. And so similar to Mariana, I think we've done a really great job in the past few years that I've been here to let students know that like we're here for them and that they can advocate for themselves and that we do care about them. And talking about the pride earlier, I think just knowing that like they have people here that care about them and that we climb together and that they're an Orediger and that we truly are one big family has really helped to improve that. And I think CSM 101, which is our freshman seminar class, has been evolving over the past few years and has done a really great job at showing students that you know, like your mental health matters and even though school is important, it's not everything. And so whether it be like getting involved in extracurriculars or taking care of yourself, like that is an important part. And we've really been stressing balance to those students. And so I think that's something that we've been getting a lot better on for sure. But we still got some ways to go for sure.
Good. Well, we're up against 6 o'clock. Those of you in the room, you have the benefit of being here, and so we can ask some more questions. Those of you online, we really appreciate you joining us.